Welcome, and thank you for joining me for your practice today. Let's focus on twists for your practice and also on what your body really needs. So, to begin, I'd like for you to make sure that you have a bolster on hand and also a blanket. A couple of blocks might be nice as well if you're feeling a little stiffer in your hips, especially. And then to start, I'm going to actually have you come to a seated position right up at the front edge of your yoga mat. And if you're going to be crossing your legs, have your left ankle in front of your right ankle. If you're not crossing your legs, no worries. Maybe one leg can bend, one leg is going to be straight. Totally up to you. I will offer one other option though, which would be to have a blanket under your hips, especially if sitting for you on the floor is a little bit challenging. That blanket will give you the extra height, hopefully to be a little more comfortable. And then one more thing, let's have your bolster in front of your right knee. So it'll kind of be in a diagonal position. And once you have all that set up, rest your hands on your knees or your thighs. Let your elbows just hang down from your shoulder joints. And begin to cultivate a posture which feels steady, but not stiff. And you might notice when you hit that right balance of steady, but not stiff, you'll feel some subtle postural fluctuations as you breathe in and out. Now start to lengthen out the inhales and the exhales a bit. Looking for nice soft breaths. And then please bring the palms of your hands together in front of your heart and start to rub your palms together, creating a little friction between your hands and therefore heat. And finding a nice amount of warmth between those hands. Continue to breathe softly, smoothly, slowly. And when you have just the right amount of heat between those hands, I'd like for you to please now place them on your face, over your eyes. And continue to breathe softly as you feel that warmth from the hands seep into the face, into the skin. And release the hands from the eyes, and let's do it again. So palms together, create a little heat between those hands. Continue to breathe slowly. Just a really gracious breath. Exactly what you need in this moment. And then please, once again, place those hands over your eyes. Feel that warmth. This lovely warmth that you create and provide to yourself. And then reach the right hand straight up to the sky. And take the left hand to the outside of that right knee. Reach your right hand all the way back until the fingers, or maybe even the palm, come down to the mat behind you. And try not to bear any weight with this right arm. It's more there as a kickstand. The left hand maybe pulling just a little on the right knee for just a really gentle seated twist. And again, we'll avoid a twist which is very stiff in favor of a twist which feels really responsive to the breath. And maybe you can still sort of feel that warmth on your face that came from your hands. Just that gentle warmth that you provide for and to yourself. And then we won't be untwisting. You're just going to actually now fold over that right leg. So staying in the twist. And maybe your elbows will just land perfectly on that bolster. Perhaps you'll set it on end. Maybe you'll need the blocks under the bolster so your elbows can come all the way down to it. Or maybe your elbows come all the way down and you can rest your forehead, or you can rest your head in your hands, just for a nice, gentle, seated, folded twist. The left hip doesn't necessarily need to be really smushed down into the floor, but at least make it heavy. Let's see if you still have any echoes of that warmth on your face that came from your two hands. Still the breathing soft and smooth. A nice gracious breath. We'll just take one more breath here on the folded twist. And maybe you'll need to use your hands to help you come up. First to vertical and then untwisting, so you're turned back to the front of your mat again. Hands resting on the thighs. Maybe just take a moment here just to observe any differences between the two sides, perhaps. Maybe one side feels warmer. And then let's just slide the bolster so that it's now in front of the left knee. Switch the ankles if they're crossed, so that now the right ankle is in front of the left. And bring the palms of your hands together and start to create some heat between them. Keep that breathing smooth, soft, stretched out. And when you have just the right amount of heat that you would like to provide for yourself, go ahead and place those hands again over your eyes. Feel that warmth seeping into the face. Into those hard-working eyes. That brow, which sometimes carries a lot of tension. And then this time it's the left hand that will reach straight up to the sky. Right hand goes to the outer left knee. Left fingertips come all the way back. Behind you, remember they're a kickstand, not a place to rest your weight. Your weight is on your pelvis. The posture is really gracious here. So you can feel those slight fluctuations as you breathe in and out. That's what I'd like for you to feel here. Not necessarily a deeper twist, because we have other twists. If we're looking for depth, we'll get that later. Right now, just providing this really nurturing posture for yourself. Maybe feeling that warmth again. Let's take one more breath in the vertical twist here. And this time when you exhale, I'd like for you to fold over that left leg, bringing that bolster to a position where you can rest your elbows on it, I hope. Some of you will bring your forehead all the way down. Some of you will prop up your forehead on your hands. And the right hip doesn't necessarily have to be smushed into the floor, but I would like for you to imagine that it's very heavy, almost like it's filled up with wet sand. Just a couple more gracious breaths in your twist. And you'll press your hands down to help you rise back up to vertical. And once vertical, you'll unwind so that you're facing straight forward and place your hands on your thighs. Notice any differences between the two sides, any warmth. Maybe the side you just worked with feels warmer, or specific discrete body parts. This warmth that you provide to yourself. And now please bring your feet out in front of you, if they're not already, with your knees still bent so that you can slide your bolster under your two thighs. Bolster goes under your two thighs. And then come on back to your back. Your bolster not too close to your butt, please. Still a few inches away, so it's probably just about right if it was against your butt when you were seated. And if you'd like, you can also grab that blanket now and put that under your head, but please avoid having the blanket too thick. I don't want your head super lifted up. Should be fairly neutral here. And take the soles of your feet onto that bolster. That's why if it's too close, your feet will be sliding off the front, right? So make sure it's not too close to you. And bring your feet as wide as the bolster. And if you'd like, you could even let your knees rest together for a moment. Bring the hands together once again and start to create that friction, that beautiful heat. And when you have just the right amount, this time the palms of the hands actually come to rest on the belly. And make sure that the palms are on the belly so you feel the warmth from each of them through your clothes. And once again, rub the palms of the hands together, this time with that heat developing between the hands. Good wishes. Good wishes for yourself. And when the right amount has been cultivated, once again, you'll rest those hands on the belly. Those good wishes seeping through the clothes into the belly. Keep your hands on your belly. And again, the feet are wide. Bring the knees apart too, and start to windshield wiper both knees to the right. Windshield wiper both of those knees to the right. Maybe push down a little bit into the left ankle when you get to the right, and then come back to the middle. Let's do that a few more times. So you're going to windshield wiper to the right. Usually your head and your heart go together, and your eyes. So see if it's okay for you to turn your head as your hips, your heart, your knees drop to the right. And come up with that nice, expansive, gracious breath again that you provide for yourself. That warmth from the hands, spreading down into the pelvis, into the legs. These heartfelt good wishes. Let's just do 2 more. So we're only going to the right and back to the center. We'll do the left in a little bit. Here's the last time. So your knees go over to the right. Both ankles are still on that bolster, but the right one just barely. And probably the right knee comes all the way down to the floor. Left knee, maybe even resting on the bolster. But if your knee needs to be a little bit higher, why not put something underneath it? One of those blocks that we talked about. And then open your arms out to the sides. See if any amount of that warmth is still present on your belly. And as you feel the belly rise and fall, allow that warmth to expand down into the pelvis, up into the chest. In my line of work, I notice that people are really hard on themselves. They never really feel like they're doing enough, or they're not doing the right thing, or they could be doing better. And while maybe some of that might be true, humans don't really operate at our best, at our optimal functioning when we feel really under the gun, when we feel really punished. So as you breathe that warmth, breathe in heartfelt good wishes for yourself. An abiding, permanent warmth for self. Let's take one more breath, please. Windshield wipers here. And take your time, bringing your 2 knees back up to the middle. Maybe that left one especially feels kind of heavy. And if it's okay, let's leave the feet wide. Maybe the knees can rest together once again. And you'll notice any differences between your two sides. Maybe one feels a little warmer. If so, good job spreading that warmth and comfort and those heartfelt good wishes. You bring your left knee into your chest. Bring your left knee into your chest. And then, if it's okay, I'm going to have you bring that left knee out a little bit wider, and I'm going to give you an option. So the first option would be to keep the knee in your hands as it is right now. And the second option would be to bring that shin to vertical and hold the blade of the foot in your left hand for the half happy baby. With either option, I'm going to have you step your right foot just to the center of the bolster and let the right knee open up wide, almost like a half butterfly. So it's kind of like a half happy baby, half butterfly hybrid. And whichever option you chose, just make sure you feel balanced side to side. That's why having that right knee open can be helpful. A nice, gracious breath, completely absent of any blame, any fault, any recrimination, just pure warmth and love. Two more breaths. And then release the left foot back to the bolster and the right one as well. Right foot flat on the bolster, left foot flat on the bolster. Step your feet out wide again. And maybe knees drop together or maybe they stay wide. It's up to you. Take your hands together again. Friction, heat, this time building up those heartfelt good wishes. Unbridled hope, appreciation. And when you're ready, take that warmth to the belly. And as you breathe in and out, maybe you feel the belly rise and fall, creating almost like a pump, sending that warmth down, up, around. Keep your hands on your belly. And this time, separating the knees before dropping them to the left. Windshield wiper to the left. And then come back up to the middle. And go back to the left. So your hands still resting on your belly, just as a reminder that this practice is for providing the body what it really needs, which is to be loved, appreciated. Remember your face, your heart, follow the direction of your hips. A nice, gracious, stretched out breath. Sometimes it's kind of nice to push down into the right ankle a little bit as your knees drop to the left, if you want to give that a try. Okay, so here's the last time. Your knees go to the left. Left one maybe resting all the way down to the floor, and the right one maybe on the bolster, or maybe it's a little more elevated and you put something under it. Mine doesn't reach the bolster, but I don't need anything under it either. I'm okay to have it just hanging there. So it's totally up to you. Reach those arms out to the sides. Feel that lingering warmth from your hands on your belly. I think as women, especially though, with a teenage son, I'm finding that this is definitely not something that boys and men are immune to. We tend to wait to feel love for our bodies until society has told us that it's okay. So we think that we'll love the body when it's thin enough, strong enough, tall enough. We'll love the body when it's just the right age. Two more breaths in the windshield wiper pose here on the left. Take your time bringing those knees up. Feet stay wide, maybe your knees fall together. Does one side feel warmer? And then gather the right knee in. Use your hands. You could either hold the shin or you could hold the thigh. It's up to you. And bring the right knee a little wider. So that's option one. Option two is to bring the right leg into the half happy baby. So that would be a vertical right shin, right hand holding the blade edge of the foot. And regardless of how you oriented your right leg, your left foot steps to the center of the bolster and your left knee opens up wide. And I end up kind of resting on the top of my left foot for the half happy baby or the half Apanasana. So we think that we'll love the body when we have permission, when it's just perfect, or perhaps when someone else loves the body, when someone else tells us it's okay to love the body. One more breath and half happy baby. You'll bring 2 feet flat onto the bolster. Once again, separate those feet, bring your thighs together. Notice warmth. Now step your feet in front of your bolster. Step your feet all the way out in front of your bolster, and then use your heels to pull the bolster back toward your butt. And see if you can grab onto that bolster with your hands. If you can't, kind of shimmy your shoulders down towards your butt. That'll help. And then once you've got it, lift your hips up and slide the bolster all the way under your low back. So a good portion of your butt is resting on that bolster as well. Your feet are flat on the floor. If your head was resting on the blanket, now just take the blanket and slide it back. So it's no longer under your head. And take your palms together. And start to create some friction between your hands. Feel the warmth, those heartfelt good wishes for self building. And then place the 2 palms on your chest. And let your arms open out to the sides. Press down into your feet. Lift your hips away from the bolster so you're coming into more of a legit bridge. And then bring your hips as far over to the left as you can. So that, and this is kind of weird, but your left glute is not even on the bolster anymore. So you're that far over to the left. Now pull your knees up towards your chest. You'll be tilted to the right, which is fine, because I'm actually going to have you roll onto your right side with your right thigh resting on that bolster. Left thigh is roughly on top of the right thigh, and feet are either on the floor or just kind of hanging out. Make sure your right shoulder blade is flat when you reach your left arm out to the left for an elevated supine twist, one of my favorites. And a big twist. Remember, I promised you a big twist. Here it is. So here's something to contemplate in your big twist. What if everyone you knew loved their body? Like, loved it in the way that made them really want to take great care of it. That allowed them to be so open and expressive with their body. It'd be a game changer, right? It's almost like if everyone you knew did, then you would have permission to do it too. Let's take 2 more breaths in your elevated supine twist. Okay, so here's the best way to get out of this, in my opinion. First, bring your feet back towards your mat and see if you can't kind of get a little bit of purchase on that sticky mat with your toes so that you can use the floor to have you actually come back onto your back and drag your hips back to the middle. And make sure that your low back is on the bolster. You're not kind of falling off on either side. Notice warmth on one side or the other. Bring the palms of your hands together. Create some friction between them. Continue to breathe expansively. Building up those heartfelt good wishes. That affection and love. Build it up between your hands. And let's see if it transfers. Bring those hands to your heart. Let your arms rest out to your sides. Once again, you're going to push down into your feet. Lift your hips and plop them over to the right. So far to the right that your right cheek isn't even on that bolster. And then the two knees come up towards your chest. You'll be tilted to the left, right? And that's fine because you're actually going to roll all the way over onto your left side. So your left thigh still has plenty of bolster under it, right? That's why we bump the hips to the right. Right thigh rests on the left. Feet are just kind of hanging out. If you want a block or something under your left ankle, though, that's fine. Go ahead and grab it. Let your right arm reach out to the right now. Left shoulder blade is nice and flat on the mat. For your elevated supine twist to the left. Okay, so here's another question. What if everyone in your community loved their body? It sounds so radical, right? So unattainable. Everyone in your community loved their body. Your neighbors, the clerk at the grocery store, your doctor, the mayor. Two more breaths in the elevated supine twist. Okay, so your feet kind of slide back first towards your mat and then See if you can kind of get some sticky mat under those feet before you drag your hips back to the center. You come back onto your back. Make sure that it's your low back and the back of your butt on the bolster. So part of your butt is kind of hanging off the front, right? The blanket is overhead still. So it's just past your head. I'd like for it to definitely stay there because we're going to use it there in a second. And then bring your palms together. Building up warmth. Heartfelt, good wishes. Love. See if it transfers. Bring the hands to the heart. Yeah, all day, every day, we're making all these decisions on behalf of the body. What to eat, whether to go to sleep or stay awake. And sometimes we make, more forward-thinking decisions like, do I need a supplement? Do I need a workout program? Should I go for a walk? But rarely do we ever ask the body, what does it need? And while all of those are awesome decisions that we're making all the time and absolutely necessary, maybe, we'll start with love. Reach your two arms overhead and bring your arms, your wrists, your hands under the blanket. So there's just like a little bit of weight on those arms. And if that's no good for you, if you're like, nope, too much for my shoulder, thank you, you could bring your arms on top of the blanket, okay? Because when you start with love, you make really awesome decisions for your body, right? So either the arms are on the blanket or they're under the blanket. Here's another option. Slide one leg out long. Slide one leg out all the way out long. And I like to have my leg a little wider with my toes turned out. Some of you might even like to slide the other leg out long as well. So everything is extended. But for many, that's a little too much. So you make a decision on your own behalf, which is based on this abiding love. These heartfelt good wishes that you have for yourself. And if you've just got one leg extended, you could stick with that, or I'm going to tell you in just a little bit if you can switch. What would sort of be the halfway point, okay? So if you've just got one leg extended, go ahead and switch if you'd like. You don't have to. But if you want to be even, if that's important to you, then now's your chance. So what if instead of waiting to love the body until it's what everyone else thinks it should be, until waiting for it to be what you think it should be, what if you actually start with love? What if that's the beginning and not the end of the process? Now it's time to bring both feet flat once again onto the mat. Maybe just get one of those feet back first, and then see if you can just kind of push down into that foot a little bit. It'll be a little easier to get the other foot back because that is kind of a dicey transition. And then the blanket, you can just leave overhead as you bring your arms out from under it, and use your hands to press the bolster to your heels again. And then you'll probably have to creep your heels away so that your butt can actually get all the way down to the floor. And then send the legs out long over that bolster. And you might find that the low back is saying stuff. That's pretty normal. That's totally normal. So don't get too alarmed. If you'd like, you can bring the the blanket under the back of your head. And let your hands rest somewhere on your body. So maybe love, when you get away from your mat after this practice, is a little bit much of a tall order. So what about just right now? Just exactly as it is, this body as it lays here. And you send warmth and good wishes. You want only the best for this body, at least in this moment. Now, if you can stay in your Shavasana for some time, I would invite you to do that. Stay. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. Namaste.